Today I want to talk to you guys about mustache growth. Now this video isn't about if you should or shouldn't or even what style you should grow if you're going to. This video is going to be more of an educational video about how a mustache actually grows and what we can do to help it be a bit healthier and look a little better. Now the main determination in how your mustache is actually going to grow is your genetics. Just like genetics control how tall you're going to be, the color of your eyes, the color of your hair, it also determines on your hair patterns and growth. Now the first thing that your genetics or genes actually factors into this is going to be how much testosterone your body produces. Now why this matters is because testosterone, when it hits the hair follicles, it actually turns into DHT. And the DHT tells the hair follicles to go ahead and grow that hair or to start to grow a hair. And the more DHT that there is, the higher and more hair you're going to grow. This is why you typically see males start to grow hair when they hit puberty. Now it doesn't hit all at once, so that's why you get the littler peach fuzz types hair, and then as the male gets older, you end up with thicker, longer lasting, and darker hair. Now if you want to know more about that whole process, you can go ahead and watch my video about who to blame about your balding head, as I go into much more detail in that video about the hair growth process. Now your genetics also have a say in your terminal length of your hairs. Now if you don't know what terminal length is, it is how long your hair can get before it just seems like it stops growing. Now what's really happening there is that the hairs didn't stop growing, but it shed and started a new growth. And so although it seems like your hair stops growing, what's actually happening is you are losing hairs and the shorter hairs are just growing into that place, and your body is saying, okay, it's time to release that one now and to start a new one. So you usually don't even notice. So yes, if you are pulling out hairs out of your mustache, as long as it's not getting patchy or bald spots, it is perfectly normal to lose some of that hair and not to really worry about it. I've noticed that when I'm applying some stronger waxes is usually when I notice that I am losing some hairs, because it just comes out as I am applying the wax sometimes. Now genetics can be very cruel. I mean, just look at this face that you're watching right now. It was not handed a stacked deck, that is for sure. But the main part of a mustache and how our genetics make us look also determines on how much real estate we have on our face to actually grow hair. Now there's a few terms that I'm going to be using that I think would be easier to show you guys in this diagram. Now as you can see in this diagram, it shows that the upper lip goes from basically the slit in your mouth to the bottom of your nose. For this video, we're going to consider the upper lip anything above the Cupid's bow, which is the spot that your skin starts and your lips stop. And then we also have the philtrum area that we'll be talking about here shortly. So with those definitions in mind, we need to look at how much growing room we actually have to grow. So for instance, if you look at me, I have right about 1/2 of an inch worth of growing room. And that goes all the way down to right about the ends of the Cupid's bow. So I don't really have that much growing real estate. However, when you look at somebody like the magnificent mustache of Bob Elliot His Mustache, you can see that Bob has a very large upper lip as well as philtrum. So he has a lot of space to grow a mustache, which means that he can grow a mustache as epic as he currently has. And as you can see, he was also blessed with a nice terminal length growth for his mustache. So essentially, the more real estate that you have on your upper lip, the more hair follicles you're going to have, and therefore the thicker of a mustache you're going to be able to grow will be. Now when you start to grow a mustache, even if you are not training it to go to the sides, you may notice that you have a mustache gap. And what that gap is right here in the center of the philtrum. You may not grow anything. In fact, the entire area of the philtrum, you may grow very little hair or no hair at all. And that's just because when you were in the womb, that's kind of where your skin and your face kind of came together at. And sometimes you just don't grow hair. Now that doesn't mean that you can't still rock a mustache, as there are mustache styles out there that include a larger or a smaller gap or no gap at all within the philtrum area. Now within that little plot of growing area, you may also find that your hair grows faster or thicker toward the edges of the mouth. And that's just because you're getting closer to that beard area and the cheek area and further away from that little area that it may not want to grow. So for instance, I've been growing out the hairs along the inside of my mouth here for over a year now, and it still isn't as long as I would like it to be. So you can see a clear difference between this hair here that I've chopped a couple of times in the last year to this stuff here that is only about half of what the length is on the outer corners. And I have not cut those hairs at all. And that's the same way on both sides. And that seems to be fairly normal for just about everybody. Now, although most people will probably grow a little slower towards the center of the mustache, everybody's going to be a little bit different on the speed at which that hair and the rest of the mustache grow. Because it all depends really on your genetics. Now the last two things are fairly quick and fairly easy to go through because they are both genetics as well and fairly obvious. If you have thicker hair because you have larger hair follicles, you're going to have a thicker looking mustache. And pretty much same thing goes for your ethnicity, as that also has a play in it because certain ethnicities just have a denser amount of hair follicles, so therefore they grow a thicker amount of mustache. Now that we've taken a look at things that we can't control about our mustache growth, let's look at the things that we can. And the first thing is our diet. Foods that are high in zinc, like chickpeas and nuts, are great for our mustaches, as well as your primary vitamins, your A, B, C's, and D's are all going to help that mustache as long as you are intaking enough of it, as well as your healthy fats and omega-3s like your fish. And of course, we can't forget the good old red meat that gives us a plenty of protein. The next thing we can do to help our mustaches be their healthiest is exercise. Now you might want to know how that helps. Well, anytime that the body has exercise or physical activity, it is going to increase the blood flow as well as the circulation, which then in turn can help with getting all of that nutrients to the hair and stuff that it needs in kind of a little supercharged kind of way. The next way that we can help our mustaches as well as just help our faces look better all around is weight loss. Weight loss is a big thing because when we get overweight, our testosterone levels drop. And as I've said a couple of times, testosterone makes DHT, which makes hair grow. So the closer we can get to a healthy weight, the better off we are going to be. Now the next things that we can do is fairly simple. We can apply some beard oil and beard balm to our mustache. We can use mustache waxes to help it also not dry out. And of course we can use a co-wash and a specially formulated beard wash on our mustaches so that we're not completely stripping any of the natural oils away from them, as well as making sure that our skin underneath the mustache is healthy. Remember, healthy skin equals healthy hair. And lastly, make sure that you drink plenty of water, as the more hydrated you are, the more hydrated your skin is, and the more hydrated your hair will be. So essentially, the things that we can do to help our mustaches are things that we should be doing anyway for the rest of our physical health. So if you are physically healthy, your mustaches should be as well. If you have any other tips on how to keep a mustache healthy, or you have anything that you want to add about how a mustache grows, please leave them down in the comment section so that we can all learn together on this. And while you're down there, go ahead and check out the link in the video description for Bob and Elliot His Mustache, and go and check out all the awesome things that he's got going on, and just bask in that glorious mustache of his. If you want to know 10 reasons why you shouldn't grow a mustache, go ahead and check out this link up here. Down below is going to be a video that you may enjoy as well. Until next time, as always, you have a good one.